Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Flizanes, your empowerment strategist, producer, and winemaker. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 ways money fears hold you back. Now, it is the end of the year. Merry Christmas. Happy almost New Year. I wanted to end this year with a conversation about money. Now, this episode was actually a webinar I did a couple years ago, and I didn't share it with anyone else who didn't sign up and attend the webinar. But when I went back and looked at the content, I thought it was pretty applicable. When we get to the end of the year, many of you potentially have worry and fears, and maybe I've spent too much with the holidays, or what's going to happen in January, or let's look at taxes, or maybe even for some of you in abundance, which is great. Where can I spend some money because I want to reduce my tax liability? So whether it be positive or negative, or even just neutral, we do reflect after the holidays, before the new year and around the new year in terms of what we're doing next and where can we grow. And one of the things that I wanted to impress upon you that I said to a family member recently, who the claim was they worry about money. And I said, well, I understand. And if you're going to worry, why don't you do something about it? So to me, worry is kind of silly and useless if you're not willing to do anything about it. It's basically you saying, I would like to freak out and feel bad and tell negative stories, but I'm not willing to do anything different or to change it. So this webinar has been cut down to make it podcast size and podcast ready. If you're interested in watching the entire slideshow and webinar and the interactions and doing it in that style, you can go to jjflizanes.tv and the entire webinar is there intact. But for today's purposes, I cut it down to make it more podcast episode appropriate, if you will. So obviously, I'm going to be offering a couple different ways for you to increase your prosperity, increase your money mindset, increase your manifestations. One of them will be the Mastermind. I will talk about that at the end. JJ's InnerCircleMastermind.com. I have 3 spots left. The second would be Awaken Your Dream Life. And for those of you that have been following the show for a while, Awaken Your Dream Life is based mostly on the book Whole Brain Living from Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. And as many of you know, reading a book can really be life-changing when you hit that one sentence or that concept that really opens up clarity for you about your habits and your patterns in your life. But most of the time when people read a book or even listen to a podcast, if you don't turn around and take action with it, if you don't embody it or add it into your daily life, then it's just an idea, but it doesn't become a reality until you implement it. And that's what Awaken Your Dream Life is about. It's about implementing the ideas in the book and these 4 characters that we're going to explain to you and actually doing things differently. Because again, we can't really have change. There is no neuroplasticity until we have behavioral change, not just an idea or an awareness. So the ticket's still available. There's still a 2-pay plan, I think, for you, which is crazy since by the time we do this, you wouldn't have paid the second payment, but you can go to jjflizanes.com/dreamlife. It is live virtual. It will be recorded and you have access to those recordings forever. So you can do it. You can review it as many times every year. There will be small group coaching. And again, I can't emphasize enough how valuable that is. And you're not even really paying for that. This is a test to see how effective that small group coaching is. And then the next time I do a live virtual class, I will increase the price to reflect the value people get from the live group coaching, the small group coaching that happens in between the sessions. So I think that's it for today. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm just going to keep leaning in to up-leveling your money game, your money mindset game, your ability to manifest, because we can't talk about manifestation until we learn how to be different. And I can't emphasize that action is really where that's at. So enjoy today's episode, enjoy your holidays, and look forward to seeing you in 2024. Welcome to the 5 ways money holds you back. I'd like you to have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. All right. So the goal is to understand the misconceptions and beliefs around money and success. And we're going to go to a certain level with that. Again, I'm sure there are deeper ways we can go, but I want to scratch the surface in the way that I'm doing it today with you, my community, who understand some of the other principles involved. Identify the ways you upper limit or hold yourself back, and find the specific personal steps you need to take to break through the resistance and patterns holding you back. Why don't you, on your piece of paper right now, if you know your upper limits right now, just write a few of them down. So the main upper limiter is worry. We've got getting sick and getting hurt, squabbling, deflecting. Those are the 4 that I can remember right now. But if you know what they are, write yours down. Money is energy. It's just another part of consciousness. It's just part of the same universal fabric as our air. And when you look at it that way, it automatically takes money off the pedestal that we tend to put it on, right? We have so many layers on one level to what money means to us. And it sometimes can be helpful to explore that. And there are people I've had on the show, and there's been practices that I've had on the show and things that we've done that can help with that. But just generally, I want to we don't need to tell the story about that. Money is energy. It's part of who we are. Just like we just breathe in air, we breathe in energy. Everything is energy. And so I want us to take money off of a pedestal, that it's separate from us and it's something more important than you, and it's also neutral. It just amplifies the energy of the person that's holding it. Money doesn't judge. Money is energy. And I want you to say that, money's energy. Money's energy, and money reflects my energy. Money is energy, and money reflects my energy. And just like the waves and emotions and breath, it ebbs and it flows continually. So what is your relationship to money? And very quickly on the piece of paper that hopefully you wrote down your upper limits, I want you to write down a couple words that might describe your relationship to money. I'm sure you've all heard of people say, money is the root of all evil. If that's what you believe, well, that's could be a reason why you don't have any, or why you don't want it, or why you feel guilty if you have it, or why there's an issue with it. What is money? What is your relationship to money? And be specific. Do you feel like you're a slave to money? Does money have power over you? Have you given up who you are to money? Are you a prostitute to money? I'm going to guess a lot of us are. I'm definitely not anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I think the first time I remember doing it in New York City, and I realized it, I was like, no, and I can't be bought. I cannot be bought. And it feels so good to know that. But can you be bought? So what's your relationship to money? What I'd like you to do when we're going to deal with that, but I want you to, in this vein of money's energy, I want you to be cash. Okay. So let's put aside right now what your old relationship with money is, and let's make a new one. So now the be cash is actually an acronym that we came up with, Doug and I, when I was walking and coming up with this whole presentation. Now, it's not that I said, I want you to be cash, but that's what you're going to do to remember the 5 reasons why money holds you back. Okay. So number 1, the B is to believe in yourself. So on that piece of paper, I want you to write down on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe in yourself? And I want you to really think about that. I want you really to own it. Don't knee jerk it. Do you really believe in yourself? When you believe in money more than you believe in yourself, then money wins and money rules you, and your power goes to money, which means that the relationship between you and money changes because you value money more than you value yourself or your belief in your ability to make or manifest money. So in order to live your purpose, in order to stop allowing money to railroad you, you have to believe in yourself. And if you're anything less than a 10 or a 9.5 or a 9, we got work to do. So here's the work. What's your vision and what's your story? So the problem with why you give your power away to money is because you have a story going on. And the reason is, and this goes back to law of attraction conversation, is that you're really, really good at understanding the details and the specificity of the fear of what it would happen if it went wrong. So when you're really good at talking about your limitations and why you can't do something, you're never going to do it, even if you believe in yourself. And then if you don't believe in yourself and you do this, well, that's a recipe for disaster. So whether it be using your law of attraction training, which a lot of you have had through me, or we just take a step back and do something different, what could go right? So go to your notes, and I want you to write 5 things or more that could go right. What do you want to have happen? And I'm going to give you a magic wand and everything you want to work out is going to work out. So wave that magic wand. And what does that look like? What does working it out and working out right look like? And I know that you practice what it looks like to not go right because you think worrying about it will help you plan for it. When in actuality, worrying about it creates it. And worrying about it doesn't get you in alignment with what could go right. So write down right now what could go right. So you would get more clients, you would get more followers, you would get more of an audience, you would get more people participating in the things that you offer. What else? If it worked out, if it went right, what does going right mean? You get to travel more, you get to retire early. I love that. You'd be busy with things that you love. Yes. You could live anywhere you wanted. Oh my God, feel the freedom in that. I could live anywhere I wanted. If my business working out the way I want it to means I could live anywhere. Financial independence, lots of travel, having lots of fun with money, helping people and feeling valued. Absolutely. More vacations. Yes. People I love would be healthier. Yes. Building wealth. Yes. Giving to charities. Love that. Yes. What if it goes right? Owning your own home, having a successful business, traveling, helping others, having my own nonprofit. Love that. Doesn't that feel good to say those are the things that I want to have happen? And again, they can. Sky is the limit. Yeah. Well, sky is the limit. And when you start getting all the things that you want, which I've been doing, you have to make a new goal. Freedom of time. Oh, freedom of time. So good. I love freedom. All right. Pay for all my grandkids' college. Love that. Sending the kids to whatever school I want. Yep. Because it's working out the way you want it to work out. Because that's why we do anything, isn't it? We go into something because we want it to work. You don't go into the gym expecting to gain weight. You go to the gym expecting to lose weight because you're going to get on a machine. You wouldn't get on a machine and wonder if you were going to gain weight. You'd get on a machine wondering if you're going to lose weight. You'd expect to stay the same or lose weight, not gain weight. So more time for things that make us smile, healthy, and happy. Okay, awesome. I see some of you are just not going to play no matter what I tell you to do, but those of you that did, thank you very much. All right. So what could go right? Please take this exercise and write those things down. I'm here to tell you that if worry was on the top of your list of things that how you upper limit, it's because worry is prayer for what you don't want. How many times do you need to hear that? When you can identify the 10 different ways in which something could go wrong and you can't equally do the same thing for what's right, you are the bottleneck to your success. Nobody else, nothing else, you. So please don't stop this exercise. We're going to keep it going. And if you get more ideas, please feel free to write it down. All right. So something I haven't talked about before, but I have had it on the show. We've talked about the hero's journey. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I would recommend that after today's presentation, you go back and listen to the hero's journey. So I'm going to quickly go through the entire hero's journey with you. There are 12 steps so that you can identify, and there are several hero's journey. There's your whole life hero's journey. And then there's transitions in your hero's journey. And then there's your hero's journey, whether it be daily, weekly, yearly, or, in a project. So I want you to take a smaller snippet of where you are right now, why you're here. You apparently want to be living more of your purpose and stop letting money take control or give your power away to money, which is energy. Okay. Which in a way makes no sense because you create energy and you transmute energy and you influence energy. Money is just one of the kinds of energy that we have. So I want to identify where you are in your hero's journey because it will also tell you where you go next. So the first 12 steps, or the first 4 of the hero's journey. So step 1, the ordinary world, the hero's safe place before anything grand happens. After that, it's about getting your act together and yourself prepared. My guess is none of you are here because you're in step 1, because you're here. You've said, I'm interested in not having money control me any longer. So this isn't considered ordinary. I'm in a time of reflection and possibly action and transition. Step 2, the call to adventure. It's a divine or literal tap on the shoulder, a call to action to do something that is an expansion of what you've done before or something a bit scary or risky. My guess is you've already passed through this because in order to know where you are in the call to adventure, you've had to have heard it or felt it. Now, some of you may be here and maybe you don't have the call to adventure, but for those of you that I know that are on here, you're past this step because again, you're here. You're recognizing that there's more coming. There's more you want, and you've been called and you've answered that call, which is why you're here. Step 3, refusal to the call, encountering resistance from self or others, from feeling like you're not good enough. So some of you maybe got the call and are continuing to refuse the call. Some of you are in step 3 right now. Even though you're here, you got the call, but you're here because there's nothing major you have to do to be here. But in essence, you're refusing the call because again, your own internal resistance or someone else's. So just notice if you're in step 3, if you're literally refusing the call of your intuition that said to you, hello, you need to do something. Running out of time. You only get one life that you're aware of right now. I mean, yes, you get multiple lives, but you're not enjoying the emotions from a past life right now or a future life. You're in this life. Step 4, meeting the mentor. The hero desperately needs guidance and meets a mentor figure. The mentor gives him or her something he or she needs, training, confidence, advice, and uses it to dispel his doubts and fears to give him the strength to begin the quest. I'll go back and forth between his and her, she and him, they and, okay. Now, some of you may be there because a bunch of you have taken steps to move forward with me. And some people you'll hear from today who are meeting the mentor and have answered the call. And some of you, I'm not saying I'm the mentor for all of you. I'm a mentor because you're here, but that doesn't mean I'm the next mentor that you need for wherever journey you're going on. Okay, step 5 is crossing the threshold. So the hero is ready. The hero is you, in case you didn't know that. The hero is you. So you, the hero, is ready to act upon the adventure. He may go willingly or be pushed, but either way, he finally crosses the threshold between the world he is familiar with and that which he is not. So that's where I think a lot of you are. You haven't crossed the threshold yet, whether I'm your mentor or someone else is. You're clinging to what you know because you're very afraid of what you don't know. You're choosing to decide to tell the story about what could go wrong, which cuts you off at the knees for things going right, because you literally will create what you focus on. Okay, so some of you haven't crossed the threshold yet. Some of you crossed and came back. Some of you are just looking at it, waiting for you to be pushed to cross it. And I had to laugh when he may go willingly or be pushed, because a lot of you here have been pushed. And you have asked me to do it. And I did. So, and I keep doing it. And it's not like I won't keep doing it. There just has to be a meeting of the minds. Okay. Because back to the be cash. If you don't believe in yourself, there's no amount of believing I could do or anyone else in you to change that. And I just need you to understand that. I've tried to save relationships and marriages because I thought, well, if I just believe in you enough, I just believe in us enough, it will work. And that is not the case. You as an individual are the only person who can control your destiny in believing in yourself. Other people can help you, but you can't be addicted to and a victim to everybody else's opinions. You have to ultimately believe in yourself. So step 6 is the belly of the whale. It's a dark night of the soul where everything is upside down. It can be an actual location in which lies terrible danger or an inner conflict that a hero has not had to face until now. So the belly of the whale, in terms that we've all been using recently, would be the upper limit. So you're in the belly of the whale because it's an upper limit. And to cross terminologies, if you will. So the belly of the whale, when you're literally powerless. And most of our addictions, we all have addictions, as we know, but most of you have an addiction of control. And the control illusion keeps you small. And when you say you want to grow and you say you want to get bigger and you say you want to be more successful, and then the fear kicks in and the upper limit kicks in and the pictures of what could go wrong kicks in, now you're in the belly of the whale and you're going to stay with what's comfortable because it's what you know, because you're too addicted to being in control, which is an illusion anyway, which we're going to get into a lot more later. So are you in the belly of the whale or have you crossed the threshold? Step 7, road of trials. Obstacles are thrown across the hero's path. Another upper limiting, whether physical or people bent on thwarting the process. The hero must overcome each challenge he or she is presented with on the journey toward the ultimate goal. This is a stage where skills and/or powers are tested, and every obstacle she faces helps gain deeper insight into her character. Do not be shocked. You are being tested, but it isn't because God doesn't want you to succeed or you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing. What you get tested on is your determination and your belief in yourself. And it's not anyone else outside of you testing you, it's you testing you. If your upper limit was worry, you will literally attract everything you need to prove to yourself what you actually believe. So the question becomes, are you ready to grow? Are you on the road of trials? Are you just getting bombarded with pellets to your head of resistance, of obstacles? One of the ladies who'd come to the boot camp had every obstacle possible in her path, every obstacle. And she saw it as an upper limit and came anyway. And everything all worked out. But it was the understanding that when you're aware that these things are happening and they're not a sign that you're on the wrong path, they're just a test of your resilience to your commitment to yourself, then you see them differently. Some people say, oh, well, if this happens, it's just a sign that blah, blah, blah. No, it's not a sign. It's a confirmation of your upper limit. It's a confirmation that you want to stay safe and you want to stay in the bubble of whatever it is you're thinking about. Because again, the story goes, if I fail, what happens? And most of you could tell me a whole entire story, very detailed, I'm sure, about what would happen if whatever you're trying to do goes wrong. But I bet I couldn't get half of the time spent on and half of the details on the story of what if it goes right. Step 8, the supreme ordeal or supreme opportunity, the central life or death crisis. The hero faces their greatest fear, confronts this most difficult challenge, experiences a metaphorical death. This is where you have to let go of who you are to become who you want to be. To get what you want means you have to be what you want. You have to be that change. You have to embody that situation. You have to embody that frequency. And if you aren't living it, the only way to get there is to unlayer and literally have a metaphorical death of who you've been in order to allow who you're becoming. It's the whole caterpillar and the butterfly story, right? And again, not many people focus on the fact that it's a really ugly, messy, uncomfortable, dark night of the soul in that cocoon for that caterpillar who's like stretching around. It's gooey and icky and gross. But then when they finally bust and break through, they become a transformed butterfly. So I want you to think of step 8 is your opportunity to become a butterfly, to have that metaphorical death of who you've been that has gotten you where you are versus who you want to become. And you can't become who you want to become without releasing what's been happening. What you've been doing up to this point has gotten you where you are. If you want more or different than where you are, you have to become something more. Once you get through that, like the butterfly, step 9, the reward, the hero is transformed and emerges from a battle as a stronger person and often with a prize. So in the case of a business, you come on the other side with a new client, a new idea, a sense of freedom, a sense of purpose, some big deal, some big, transaction that you would have, but not even that. It's also just the emotional relationship to it. The transformation of going from attached to unattached, from feeling bondage to feeling freedom, from feeling restricted to feeling expansive. That feeling has to happen before that prize happens anyway, but the feeling is where it starts. So step 10, the journey back, the hero returns home with his reward, but this time the anticipation is replaced with acclaim, absolution, and even exoneration. So for those that didn't believe in you, that you let get into your head, being able to go through your own hero's journey and succeeding and coming back changes them because you got to prove to them, because people's opinion of you is a reflection of their opinion of themselves. Their fear about what you do is twofold. It's number one, they can't relate to you if you're in a different frequency than they are. When you grow and they stay the same, they can't relate to you. So there's a bit of a jealousy there. There's a bit of a fear of losing you as a connection, as a loved one, as a confidant, as whoever you are in their life. It's also a reflection of what's going on with them. People try to sabotage you because they're afraid of losing you. and they're afraid of feeling badly about themselves, but it's really never about you. So when you allow others in your ear to, and I did, most of you know that story. I never stopped growing. I just didn't grow at the rate I could have. I didn't even recognize I could have grown faster because it wasn't an option, because I didn't want to lose my relationship. But then when that went away and I dedicated myself back to myself and said, I deserve to do whatever I want to do and be whoever I want to be. And I'm not going to change and keep myself small because you feel more comfortable, then the world opened up. I didn't have that wasn't bad, or that wasn't bad. I learned a lot, but again, it's always going back to that commitment to yourself. It's going back to that B. Do you believe in yourself? This whole thing has to be fueled by you believing in yourself. That's why it's number one. You let money control what you do when you don't believe in yourself. And you think somehow money has more power than you do, not recognizing that you're the one that creates it. And it also can go away as quickly as it can be created. Step 11, the resurrection, the final life and death ordeal, shows the hero has maintained and can apply all that he has brought back to the ordinary world. Other lives or entire world are at stake. The hero must rise to the sacrifice at hand. So the resurrection piece would be, it's like this hero's journey goes on and on and on. It's like, once you do it once and then, okay, next level. It's like, this is another conversation to the upper limit. Once you get over the first upper limit and you're now at the next level, you will upper limit again when you get to the next level. And it's using the tools that you learned the first time to do it the second time. Now, in the long-term hero's journey, we have the return with the elixir, the final reward. The hero returns home a changed woman. They grow as a person, learn many things, face dangers, even death, but now look forward to the start of a new life. Again, the elixir may be literal or metaphorical and is something to be shared. So we have these different stages. And again, I don't do quite as good of a job as Kelly does. We spend an entire hour talking about the hero's journey. So I would appreciate if you haven't heard this in its entirety. I can't tell you what the episode number is. Otherwise, it's the hero's journey is the name of the title of the episode. Kelly Sullivan Walden is who I had on to talk about it. But for our intents and purposes today, I just wanted you to find where you are. And again, I think a lot of you are somewhere between refusal to call, meeting the mentor, crossing the threshold, and the belly of the whale, and possibly road of trials. So hopefully you know something about where you might be. So be cash. So believe in yourself, commitment. So how committed are you? The reason why money stops you from living your purpose is because it should show you you're committed to comfort. You're committed to whatever you know right now. You're not committed to having more. So when you go back to what are you committed to? So C is commitment. We're all committed to something. Don't be in denial about that. You are committed to something, but what are you committed to? Are you committed to your comfort because you don't want to change? Are you committed to staying small because you're too afraid of what could happen? Are you committed to keeping the peace because you growing will upset somebody else? That's what I was in my marriage. I was definitely trying to keep the peace. I was not going to not grow, but I wasn't going to grow quickly because I was afraid of losing my marriage, which happened anyway, but it was for the best. But you make those choices while you're in it. It's drawing the line of the integrity. Am I living? Now that's why I had fibroids. Anyway, we're going to talk about that later. Okay. Are you committed to your health? Are you not committed to your health? I hear people tell me they want things, but then their actions don't reflect that they have any commitment to the things that they want. Your actions, ready? Listen, your actions will show you what you're committed to. It's that simple. And boom, action. So money keeps you small because it's way easier just to make an excuse about money being tight, or I have to worry about money, or this job that I have pays me right now in my mind, on a regular basis. And so that's steady and solid. If I choose to do something on my own, if I choose to have a side business or start a business, that means I have to take action. And a lot of you don't like to take action towards those things because it goes back to, do you believe in yourself? Action is the fulfillment of intuition, alignment, and desire. I do not preach taking action for action's sake. I don't want anybody to do action for action's sake. I want you to take action when you're in alignment towards the things that you want. But because most people don't want to take action, that's why money wins. Money becomes this exterior thing. Money's energy, money's energy, money's energy. Okay, so I'm not going to take any action, which creates energy. which means I'm not going to make any more money necessarily because I'm just going to hold and lock myself down here, which is not taking action or creating energy. It's just kind of holding the base. So nothing can ebb and flow. Nothing can be circulated. Nothing is growing. You're not growing. Your frequency isn't growing. You have to take action to make anything happen out of alignment towards the goals that you want in your zone of genius. I'm very specific about the action I want you to take. I want you to take action, but not out of alignment, but within alignment and doing the things that you're good at, that you love, that you're passionate about. Most of you work really hard, but who are you working hard for? A boss? A company that's not yours that could fire you tomorrow? Some of you, you're taking action. You're like, well, I take action. I go to work. I do my thing. All right. But who are you working for? Who are you investing in? You or your company that's not yours? The company that you work for. Someone had to start the company for you to have a job in the first place. Somebody has to run the marketing. Somebody has to get the clients. Somebody has to do all the things for you to get paid. But at any point in time, because they started and you didn't, you might not be there. How many people lost their jobs during COVID? How many people had to figure out how to be flexible that never had to be flexible before? I was already in this space. So when COVID happened, there was no transition. I got to finally get out of not seeing a few people in person, which I actually wanted to do. So it gave me a good excuse. It wasn't about, hey, I just don't want to see you anymore. Because I'm kind of over this relationship because I've grown so much and you haven't, and this isn't fun for me anymore. And I don't really care how much you pay me because this isn't what lights me up. I was getting paid very well. Definitely one of the top personal trainers that I know of in terms of dollar per hour. But I didn't want to do it. It didn't light me up. It was dragging me down. It was sucking my energy. And I don't want to spend those hours working hard when it doesn't create joy, when it doesn't create momentum, when it doesn't create a bigger impact, even if it's just with one person, but I wasn't making that impact. So who are you working for? Are you working hard? Are you a hard worker? Why not work hard for yourself? Because you're giving all that energy to somebody that could literally, you could lose your job. And I'm not trying to scare you into it. It's a reality that just wants you to be in check. It's a reality. You work for someone else, you could lose your job at any point in time. If you're in an industry, everyone, everywhere, no matter if you work for someone or not, gets their money from somebody else. People who work for themselves, part-time or full-time, still have to make money by getting other people to pay them. Other people pay your company, the company pays you, but they still have to get other people to pay them. It's the same model. We're just taking the middleman out. So I know a lot of you, not all of you, work for yourselves or want to, but you have this, like, all you have are the details of things it could go wrong. And there's not the, what if it goes right? And is it because you don't believe in yourself, or because you practiced it, or because you've decided that money has power over you? When you realize that you're the creator of that money, you're the attractor of that money. And there's no scenario where you're at a low vibration making a shit ton of money. You may have a high vibration about money and a low vibration about, romance or health, but people that are in alignment with money emotionally, vibrationally, tend to attract more of it. You have to be at the same frequency of whatever it is that you want. And again, the staying small, staying safe, head down, it could all fail mentality is just going to wear you down. It's never going to get you more money, basically. I mean, it might, but at what cost? Okay. And we're going to talk about that. So the S, be cash, is security and stability. You have a solution of security and stability. I have to tell you, and I'm not, please, anyone that here is a financial planner, they will tell you not to listen to me. I am probably the worst example of most financial planners. I mean, I didn't have a savings. I didn't own a house, nothing for a long time. I literally reinvested every cent I made back into my business. Now, the fun thing, I'm not a shopper. I don't buy clothes. Since I bought the house, we've bought furniture, and I bought a couple more clothes, but literally, like, my mother sends me my clothes. She shops at Kohl's and sends me discounted clothes she finds on sale. I mean, I just am not, those things have never been important to me. I spend money on travel. I spend money on wine and good food, really good food. Past that, I've never been a huge saver. I'm a spender, and I have always reinvested back into myself. And my ex-husband hated it because in his mind, I looked extremely irresponsible. So like I said, I'm just telling you right now that your financial planners probably wouldn't like me, but let me tell you where I sit now. I doubled my income from last year to this year. I will double it again next year or more. I'm already 85% higher than I was last year. And we're not even at the end of the year yet. And it's not because I have one thing or I have two things. It's because I keep reinvesting back into myself. I have a savings. I have a house. I was able to get what I wanted. I got everything I wanted. I have everything I've wanted. And I do have a savings and I do have things in place and I do have, right. But I didn't have it until recently because I was on a path, because I believed in myself. This first screen was, I believed in me. You know why? Because I know I can make shit happen. I believe in myself more than I believe in anything else, because I had a goal, I have a mission, I have a purpose. And I knew that even though, you've seen the transformation. I started Fit to Love. I didn't know what to lead with. So I did all of it. And I wasn't trying to make money. This is all, it's not by mistake. It's by following my passion and believing in myself, knowing that I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep taking action. I'm going to keep showing up, but I'm also going to trust my intuition and do what is important to me. I cannot be bought. No one can give me a certain, I've had sponsors. One sponsor wanted to come for one of my events, and it was a company that had, and the company, and they had like a sucralose as their sugar source. I'm like, no. And I don't care how much you want to pay me. No, because I have integrity and I don't want to sell out. But that stuff is because there's a deep knowing. And I'm going to go back to, for those of you that didn't answer a 9 or a 10 on your, I believe in myself. This is where listening to your deepest inner beliefs, your deepest inner knowing, something that's not your ego, something that's not out there, something that's inside. It's an inside feeling that you just know. That's what I'm talking about. It's a knowing. And when you know, it's a decision about believing it. It's a decision about following it. It's a decision about being committed to it, right? So I've already used these words: commitment, believe in yourself, action. If you have those things, money will come. I promise you, it can't not come. I have a fun story about when I was acting, when I first got here. And it was, again, kind of a law of attraction story. I worked for myself because it was an easy thing to balance personal training and acting. And when I moved to California and I would get the breakdowns every day, I would sit at my desk in Hollywood and I would fill out, at that time, that's when we were sending out headshots and you had to like mail them out in a manila envelope, and you had your resume on the back of your headshot and you had to staple it or glue it on. And anyway, so it was all very paper oriented. And I would sit there and I would send out every single day, based on the breakdowns, any role that I thought that I could apply for. And inevitably, no matter how many I sent out, every week or 2 weeks, I'd get a call back, or I'd get a call, I'd get an audition. Now, what was funny is that the jobs I got or the auditions I got were not directly the things I sent for. But here's the trick. I put energy out, energy came back. I put energy out, energy comes back, right? If you're not putting energy out, what do you think's coming? Nothing's coming. You have to put energy out to have something come back. One of my financial teachers, Shelley Campbell, I took her class many times, at her mastermind twice. She talks about ships, and she tells a really great story about the, I don't even know what period of time, but let's say you're at the time where, where you send ships out to get the gold and to get the spices and to get the food. And the ships that took a long time, like the big ships, would stop at a lot of different ports and gather a lot of the treasures, a lot of the spices, a lot of the gold, a lot of the furs, the things they were trading. So those ships might take a long time because they're big ships. And when they come to the dock, you're rich. But the little ships would just go get one thing and come back. So they were like, but then there were sailors that would go down to the dock waiting for a ship that they didn't send out. So are you not sending out any ships and waiting for something to just magically appear? If you're not putting anything out, there's nothing to come back. So let that be a lesson, that even if, that's why I knew, and I didn't even know about law of attraction then, or maybe I was just starting to learn about it. It was 2001. I didn't really learn about law of attraction until 2002, but I could reflect back and see, oh, right. Like I was always sending out stuff, but always getting something, but not from that directly. I just noticed it was just this. And when I stopped, maybe some things would come in because, again, I sent my ship out and the ship took a long time to come back. And maybe it was a big ship, maybe it was a small ship, but again, you have to send something out in order for it to come back. So if you aren't taking any action, you can't expect things to be coming. And I mean, even in vibrational action, can you, have a high vibration and have things show up? Absolutely. But whether you realize it or not, you're still doing something. You're still activating something. That's still an action. But then when it comes to your own business and money, we have to break the seal of the fear to go past what it is that's stopping you. And sometimes it's this idea of security and stability. So I'm going to go back one more time. Sorry, because you've seen this. Okay. So B cash, security and stability. So Doug is a saver and Doug is not a spender. And Doug has worked for himself. He's had multiple businesses. He still does. And when we were getting this house, before we got the house, it took us 2 years. A lot of you heard there's a show we did. It was how I manifested my dream home. And I think we talked about it on that episode, but I have a life insurance policy, whole life, and so does he. His life insurance policies are connected to his children, but they also have other insurance policies that he's gotten, but he's got his own, his other one that was going to contribute to that. And he's got a significant amount of money in it. And I remember saying, I'm worried about the down payment because he wanted to put 20% down. And on the house, we were going to, like the range at where we didn't have it. And I remember one day walking with him in El Segundo and he said, well, I have my 401k. We can use that. So I was like, okay. And then of course I didn't bring it up again and he forgot that he said it. So now we're getting closer. And I said, well, you said we could use your 401k. And he said, I didn't say that. I said, okay, you did say that. I have a good memory and you don't. And you did say that. And he goes, okay, let's say I said that. Well, I don't want to do that. I said, okay. And I can't force him. And he was like, well, why? He's like, I'm not comfortable with that. I was like, okay. And then I just let him go for a little while. I did my whole law of attraction practice. And he came back and he said, yeah, I'm going to use it because what am I thinking? It's an investment. There's money sitting there and I get a certain percentage of a return on it. I'm not spending it. I'm investing it. I'm taking it from one place and putting it in another place. And this place has a lot better return than it is over here. When he changed his mindset about that he wasn't spending the money, he was investing the money. And that money, which is exactly why I haven't saved, because every penny that I've put back into my business is a reinvestment in me, in my ability to make money, my ability to find the thing I'm supposed to be doing or to monetize in the ways that I want to. It's not a spending, it's an investing. I've always thought that and I've always acted from that. I've never doubted it. And I didn't care who judged me for it. Now I know that I'm weird and I'm not, most of you aren't me. And I get that, but I literally had no money and I was investing in myself. And when anyone would say, well, I don't have any money, I'm like, I'm going to call bullshit on that. Especially all the people that were around me that I knew had at least 10 grand sitting in a bank account somewhere, whether it be a saving, I had nothing. And I was still investing in me because that's how much I believed in me. And because how much I was dedicated, I wasn't going to work for anybody else, not because I don't want to work for anybody else, because I couldn't find anybody I wanted to work for. I wanted to do something in the world that meant something to me. And that's what goes back to the commitment part. You have to be committed to yourself and you have to believe in yourself. And if you're not, well, then you're going to, whatever you're committed to is what you're going to keep regurgitating. You have to take action. It is not, I, for a long time was really much against this whole talking about action piece because of all the coaches who talk about action, but coaches talk about action and have people do stupid things that they don't need to be doing out of fear and scarcity. And that's never been my promotion. But so I kind of sit back on that. But after having all the masterminds that I've had, I'm like, okay, I need to change my tune. Yeah, you need to be in action. And now I'm almost like, okay, some of you Tauruses need to be in action just to create momentum to keep going. It's not about the first action being like the right action. It's about the action breaking the seal of momentum to push you forward. Need to take action because I have a ton of fire. Action is never a problem. I mean, I'm a Pisces, but action is never a problem. So for those of you where action is a problem, you just have to freaking do it. And you literally do whatever. Hopefully a lot of you heard episode 91 on spirit, purpose, energy with Harville Hendricks on imago therapy for the neural reprogramming piece we talk about. We talk about it in relationship. So for the things that you don't want to do. So for those of you who heard that episode, I talked about, and I think it was my ex, but I don't know if I mentioned at the time, like when someone says, well, I don't feel like it. And he basically said, well, it doesn't matter if you feel like it. You have to go again. You have to do it anyway, because you're not feeling it is it's like that upper limiting place in your brain that says that there's something that's dangerous. And if you listen to it, you strengthen that neural pathway. When you want to change your behavior, you have to push through it and do it anyway, because that's the only thing that rewrites the programming in your brain. So keeping that in mind, when you feel the fear, you do it anyway, because once you do it and you do it enough, the brain goes, oh, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be okay. This is not a big deal. But you have to break the chain. Okay. You have to break the habit of whatever it is that you're stopping yourself with, however you're upper limiting. So how deep are you into the illusion of security and stability? So now I'm going to talk about why everybody should have a business, even if you're just going to do it part-time. Okay. A lot of you have no idea all the tax breaks. So it really is true. The reason why rich people get richer and can stay rich and people who work for people pay more is because there are legal loopholes for everything. And what pisses me off more than anything is to hear people that have the same ability to put this into play who bitch about it. Okay, they're not doing anything illegal. It's literally everybody can do it. Everybody can start a business and write a bunch of shit off, period. All right. Now, in terms of a structure of a business, and I'm not an expert in this, I can teach some of this, but I'm not doing it tonight. I'm just letting you know that if you have a business, if you get paid right now from a company, and that's not yours, and you start a side business and you start a legit side business, like you have every intention of selling something and you have every intention of doing it longer than 6 months or a year, and you and you have expenses toward that business, I believe that you have a few years where you can be in the red and take a loss. And when you take a loss, it goes against your salary from the company you're with, which means you get money back because you already paid in at a certain tax rate with your company that you work for. Having a business is a tax deduction, which lowers your taxable income. So if you have a business, and again, it can be any of them. I mean, some work better than others, but any business on the side can help you to reduce your rent or mortgage. You get to write off your expenses for cars. You get to write off your business expenses for education, which is what the Mastermind is, or any business coaching that you get, any conferences you travel to, any workshops you take to help you with your skills for your business, all tax deductible, even if you don't make any money, even if you take a loss the first year. Because when a business, let's say it's like a restaurant or something, a restaurant starts paying on their mortgage the minute that they do the deal with the land, whether it's built or not. And sometimes it takes 6 months just to get the thing built. And then it takes another few months to staff it and train it before any money comes in the door. That's why they have investors, but they're taking a loss. They're not making any profit. And you as a small business can do the same. So I'm just saying that everybody should have a business as a tax shield for many things, including investments, including your own IRAs, including health insurance and healthcare and a health spending account, being able to take money from your business into a health spending account, which then isn't taxed twice. And it just becomes, again, you're taking it away from your taxable income and you get to use it for your health stuff. Everyone should have a business. Now, who to work with on this would be a CPA first. Financial planners do this, but your CPA, and again, CPAs that work with small businesses, not CPAs that work with individual families because they tend to not know some things. So getting an attorney, getting a CPA, I work with my CPA a lot on that. I have a bookkeeper who's also very good at that, works with my CPA, but choosing the path for you is really important. But I have to tell you, if you don't have a business, you need one. Even if it's a side business where you do it part-time, because you will reduce your taxable income. You may even get money back. I remember one of my Mastermind members the first year after she did an LLC. After she did the LLC, she makes good money. She got more money back than she spent on the Mastermind. Okay. So just saying, you get to write a lot more stuff off. All right. So number 5, be cash, happiness. How many of you think that money makes you happy? If I could have you raise your hands right now, you think money makes you happy? How many rich and famous people do you know that commit suicide, that are depressed, that are manic, that are act out, that are in jail, that are drug abusers, that do stupid things? Do you think they're happy? They're freaking loaded. Having money doesn't mean you're happy. Being poor doesn't mean you're sad, but having money gives you choice, right? So having no money makes you feel like you're trapped. Having money gives you choice, but it does not guarantee that you're happy. And in fact, I would ask you, what is it going to cost you? What is sticking to a job you hate costing you? And, the quote that I want everyone to sear in their brains every day, all day long, is the only reason why you want what you want is because you think you'll feel better when you have it. So what do you want? You want freedom. You want the ability to explore and choose to do work that lights you up and choose to create something on the side that could be something you do when you retire or whatever. What is it that you want? Now, on the law of attraction side, you guys know you have to feel it first. But when you say, well, if I have security, if I have a savings, if I have a job, that means I have security, which will make me feel safe and therefore will be happy. And for some of you, that might work. But for some of you, what is it costing you not to commit to yourself, take action, create happiness, enjoy, and believe in yourself? Go back to the hero's journey. Are you refusing the call? Have you gotten the call and are refusing the call? In refusing the call, you disconnect yourself and become out of alignment. When you are out of integrity with what your deepest part of your soul wants, because again, it's a call. You either hear it or you ignore it. If you know you've heard it and you don't do it, what does it cost you? And that I want you to write that down, and I want to hear anybody in the chat. And I'll tell you, for a lot of you, it's cost you your health. It's cost you a heart attack. It's cost you cancer. It's cost you a divorce. It's cost you depression. Oh my gosh, so much depression. It's cost you anxiety, so much anxiety. It's cost you drug abuse. It's cost you emotional eating out of stress because you're in denial about what you should really be doing. So what's it cost you not to commit to yourself, to play small, to take it, to be safe, to not take a risk? And again, when I say take a risk, it's a risk in yourself. If you believe in yourself, this isn't a question. You will succeed. But if you don't believe in yourself and you don't commit to yourself, then you won't, because you're going to you're going to be in the default mode. You're going to be a passenger. You're going to manifest by default, which means you're going to attract your subconscious beliefs, which most likely probably aren't good. So I just curious, and you guys can share this later, all right, with what's next. What has it cost you, or what's it cost others? Maybe it's not about you. I'll be less in your face. Definitely cost me my health. And I was still on my path. Not that I had fibroids, but it cost my relationship. Working harder, not smarter. Emotional eating. Who's afraid of what it might cost you? If you know that you think something's coming, don't deny your intuition, because you'll be so mad at yourself if you are in denial and then it happens. The thing you think is going to happen happens. You'll be very mad at yourself for not listening to your intuition. What's next? Well, of course, this is the part where I get to say, hey, I'm here to help you. So number one, if you want to do nothing, okay, well, don't do anything. And some of you will do nothing or anything. You won't do anything. And that's the way it's going to be. A percentage of you will literally do nothing or not do anything different. Option number two is keep doing what isn't working. Again, the whole head down, lockdown only works until your body and your soul manifest something bigger that makes you listen. Cancer makes you listen. Heart attacks make you listen. Car accidents make you listen. Divorces make you listen. Don't wait for that. If you're literally like head down, holding down, you're literally going to manifest something big. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to warn you of the reality. If you have the call, you've had the call, your soul says, I want something more, and you're in denial and refusal of the call, is only a matter of time until your soul says, well, she's not listening. I'm going to slap her in some big way because she's not listening. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. I see it all the time. Okay. Option 3, get some help. So one option, Mastermind. And we have a good time, and we have a couple events a year. We meet every month. You get individual sessions. I'll talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to offer those that don't want to commit to the Mastermind a VIP day. Now, I have a limited amount of both spaces because, again, they're both based on the size of people in the Mastermind and the number of VIP days I'm able to do because it is my time. And because people who join the Mastermind get one included, but I can do a la carte VIP days, which I'm starting to lean into more because they're super effective. After the bootcamp was over, Dr. Chris and Michael and Doug and I were talking, and Josh, and I forget what came up, and I said something about the VIP day, and Dr. Chris said, well, I want one of those. He's like, I want that. I said, okay, I'll sell you a VIP day. So I did, just to give you an idea of where I'm going to go, especially after this conversation. So he's been working with a coach for about 2.5 years. He's got a coach who was certified by another very famous podcaster. I'm not a very famous podcaster. Let me rephrase that. By a very famous podcaster, another podcaster who's way more famous. And she is an executive performance coach. And she charges $20,000 a year for one session a month. And in that one session a month, she basically just holds the space, asks questions, reflects back, mirrors, validates, and that's about it. So Chris literally said, I think I got more out of this VIP day than I did the whole year with that coach. And I would probably guess to say maybe the whole time, the whole 2.5 years. Working with JJ has been totally inspirational. She's such a gift for looking at the big picture, then breaking it into small. And we did both. We did business and we did emotional. And basically, this is not a sale. This is an application. So it's not even that if you want it, you're not necessarily going to get in. So there's no cost to apply. You just go to jjsinnercirclemastermind.com and you fill out an application. We get on a Zoom call and we chat about it. Again, there's only a few spots left in the mastermind. The downsell, if you will, is a VIP day, although if that's what you want, because that feels better to you, it doesn't provide the accountability for the year. The reason why the mastermind is a year is because, again, it takes time to implement action and to see momentum and to see it work and to test it out and see if it's right for you or not. But generally, that's why the mastermind is a year. And some people, Michelle's going on to year 2. Dee was in 2.5. And, I don't know if she's doing 3 or not. I haven't asked her yet, but otherwise there is momentum that gets to be built and you can't really do it in less than that. Now, if you're already really good with action and all you need is a VIP day, then we can talk about that. And it can be virtual, doesn't have to be in person. It is a little bit less expensive for virtual, but you don't get all the perks. Again, jjsinnercirclemastermind.com. It's really about zoning in on your zone of genius and living in that at least part-time. It's jjsinnercirclemastermind.com. And we have a conversation. It's not going to be the right fit for all of you. There might be a different step. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to talking to some of you, and some of you are already in the group. So yay. And if any of this is interesting, or you want to talk further, again, fill out an application and let's have a conversation. All right.